Hello everyone and welcome back to a new One Legion video. I hope you guys had a great Christmas and a happy new year to you all. In today's video, I'm going to be going over some of my thoughts to the changes to Havoc Demon Hunter in 7.1.5. First, we're going to talk about the changes to Demon Speed. Now, from a testing I've done, Demon Speed has been changed a little bit and could have been bugged. I'm going to go over this a little bit. So in 7.1, Demon Speed, which is an artifact trait which you get in your weapon. I will put a picture on the screen now. And it gives you 2 charges of Fell Rush whenever you use Blur. In 7.1.5, Demon Speed is going to grant you 30% movement speed whenever Blur is used. After testing Demon Speed, it seems that it still grants you the 2 stacks of Fell Rush, but I believe this is a bug on the PTR at the moment. However, when we are live and when we're on the live servers with 7.1.5, I'll be sure to do some more testing. But if this is actually intended to be the intended use or intended change for Demon Speed, then I feel this is really going to be really powerful. Give you a lot more mobility and some more defensive capabilities whenever you're outside Metamorphosis, of course. So, there's been 2 talents that have been swapped around and sort of changed in their positioning. The first being Fell Blade. It hasn't actually had a change to itself. The talent is still the same, it's just moved on the talent tree, which you'll see on screen in just a moment. And also Chaos Cleave has been moved as well. I don't think this is too impactful because the other things that on those rows where they were moved to anyway are kind of mandatory to run in PvP anyway, so you're not really going to gain anything by changing that. But against some comps I can see some uses with going with Fell Blade over Fell Mastery. But yeah, we're going to move on to talking about Chaos Cleave's changes. In 7.1, it deals 50% of Chaos Strike damage to an additional target. However, in 7.1.5, they've changed Chaos Cleave to now do 25% of all Chaos Strike's damage to all nearby targets. Now, this is a buff to Chaos Cleave, obviously. However, as they moved it onto the same row as Bloodlet, I feel that it's not really going to be that option. The only time where you may want to remove this and go out of Bloodlet would be in RBGs, but to be honest, I still think Bloodlet is going to be the best because that bleed still ticks for a stupid amount of damage. So moving on to the defensive tier, we have had a Soul Rending nerf or debuff or whatever you want to call it. We've gone down to 70% leech whenever we're inside meta, which is, I think a useful change. It just means that we're actually moderately closer to being a kill target whenever we do have meta up. You still want to kite it and you can still kill people in meta, but it just makes meta slightly less overpowered, and we'll go into some other reasons why that's actually really good for the Demon Hunter spec, because it kind of means we can change around our playstyle a little bit more as well as Demon Hunters in 7.1.5. But Netherwalk and Desperate Instinct have been changed so they no longer replace Blur. This makes them a lot more viable to run in PvP, even though that Soul Rending did receive a small nerf of 30%, just bringing it down from 100% to 70% leech whilst in Metamorphosis. I still feel that it is the best talent to run on this row, just simply because it allows you to carry on even when they switch on you when you're playing offensive. It allows you to actually do a lot more healing and allows you just to output a lot more damage. However, I do think against some comps that you will be actually able to use Netherwalk. It's like a pseudo ice block, but you can just move around a pillar, but it's not as, I don't know, I don't really like it personally. I don't really think I'm going to be running it. I personally prefer the playstyle of Soul Rending, but having them not replace Blur makes them a lot more viable as well. So we're going to be moving on to Nemesis. It has been buffed by 5% passively, which is really good. And also, it's been taken off the global cooldown, which makes it, it's a nice little change, to be honest. Because it means your setup is now just going to be Chaos Blades into Metamorphosis, because you don't have to spend one of those extra globals that you could be using on damage when you want to go in a burst, switch, or a setup like that on the Nemesis. Also, I really like Nemesis right now. It's really, really fun. I've been playing a lot of it in TSG and more aggressive comps like that, but I still think you're going to be switching between Momentum and also Nemesis depending on your comp, and depending on your comp personally, and also depending on your enemy's comp as well. So that's going to be really, really cool. So we have, just go over some of the other changes. We have Dynamic has been changed and been buffed by 3 seconds. This is a nice change. However, I feel that this is not really going to be run due to the fact that to get the Dynamic itself, you have to use I-Beam, and as I-Beam is still kickable for you to gain the demon form, it makes it a lot weaker, and also you miss out on a lot of power damage combined with Nemesis when you use Chaos Blades as well, because those two are kind of offset meta kind of mini bursts with like a chill streak or something along those lines as well, which is really, really cool. Okay, we're going to be moving on to the honor system talents changes. And there's been a few buffs across the board. There's been a few things that have been changed a little bit. Now, I'll just put these on screen because they've only really been tweaked a little bit. So, we do get Cage passively now, which is really, really good. Which is really, really nice to see. It gives us those little bit more CC because you, as a Demon Hunter, you're kind of like, well, my team's dying and there's nothing really I can do about it unless you have to, and it kind of forces you into running the Cage talent. Now, about the Cage talent, I feel that it's not really going to be that viable anymore. Mainly because it only really increases the duration of your Cage by 1 second. So it's not as powerful. I think you can run it against some comps that don't have mana, for example, and that you're not going to be the kill target against, but it really narrows down what you're going to run it against as we have it passively. So moving on, we have 2 new abilities, which kind of helps our meta a little bit, which is kind of awesome. We have Dynamic Origins, which is increasing our damage outside Metamorphosis and also our cooldown of Metamorphosis, but also the amount of time we're in meta as well. So basically, for every 1 meta that you would get on 7.1, if you're running this talent, you would get 2. But each one of those would last 15 seconds instead of the 30 seconds that meta normally lasts. So it's kind of swings and roundabouts. Personally, I think this is a really, really good talent, especially as it gives you a flat, I believe it's 10% kind of buff on your damage, which is really, really awesome because it means you have a lot more consistent damage passively. So if you're playing with a Warlock, for example, you have a lot more damage that way as well. And then there's another build which I'll go over in just a second, which is more a mana kind of base down build, which is kind of really, really cool as well. So yeah, I really, really like the idea of Dynamic Origins, sorry. Also, it's on the same tier as Mana Rift and also Awaken from Demon. Now, I kind of like the fact that you have to choose between whether you're going to be a kill target or whether you think ahead of the game. It gives you more, like, conscious options as a Demon Hunter instead of just picking, I'm going to go bang, 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 because these are the best talents for me to run. So, yeah, we're going to be moving on to the Mana build, which I sort of talked about a little bit. The second ability is called Mana Rift. Now, this ability, basically, it's going to cause a circle on the ground that after a few seconds will erupt. And if a target is hit by this, it will deal 8% of their mana and their health. Now, 8% may not seem like a lot, but if you do this, because it has quite a short cooldown, so if you do this repeatedly, basically what you're doing is you're causing a target to oom faster. Therefore, you can mana break harder and sooner, which is really, really good. And also, I think that mana break is going to be one of those things where, where you're fighting a comp that could possibly go oom, such as an Affliction Lock or a Monk healer or Resto Druid healer. You just get Mana Break and Mana Rift, and then you just randomly kill them. Also, a buff has happened to Mana Break as of 7.1.5. We now do 20% damage just flat out with it, but it also now has a cap to 70% of the target's mana. Pretty much it hasn't changed. The only difference is you're not really going to hit for 1 million, but it will actually be, I think it's actually going to be part of your rotation now, which I think is really, really cool, and it's really, really nice Blizzard to see, because a lot of complaints that I've heard from other Demon Hunters and myself is the rotation itself, because you have to run Demon Blades as a must-have, and apologies if those of you who don't like Demon Blades, you still, I think, have to run it. as of 7.1.5, because yes, they nerfed it by 10%, but I still feel it's the best talent to run. It just gives you your rotation of literally I'm going to press Chaos Strike, and then I'm going to place Blade Dance and Fear of the Eldari whenever I want to burst, or I want to do Clear Pressure. And it's just kind of it's not a boring spec, it's just kind of more one button. And I think the more buttons we have, the more skill, in quotes, will go to the class. And, you know, it's good to see from Blizzard that they're trying to give us some more options to actually play with and go from there. So I'm going to quickly go over the changes to Awaken Make a Demon Within, which hasn't actually been changed at all, but I just want to talk about it a little bit. The only time when you actually want to choose this is when you're going to be the kill target, and you'll also want to run Rain from Above against double melee cleaves such as Turbo, TSG, and Walking Dead. Now, the main reason for this is because when you actually are going to be the kill target, you want as much healing as possible, and you also want to be able to just disappear into the sky. Also, I believe they have actually buffed Rain from Above's damage. I'm not sure whether this was actually just me feeling it hit harder, or whether it was actually a change, but it just seems to hit a little bit harder, which is a nice change to know. But yeah, that's the only time when you're gonna kind of have a couple of builds really in 7.1.5. I'm just gonna quickly go over them. If you're fighting a mana comp, such as a Affliction Warlock, as I went over before, you're going to want to go with Mana Rift and Mana Break. If you're going to be the kill target against a melee cleave, you're going to want to go Awaken with Demon, and then also Rain from Above. And then otherwise, you're just going to want to run with Dynamic Origins, and also then Mana Break, probably, because even if you don't have a target which earns very fast, but it has mana, I feel it's still going to be really, really good. Otherwise, you just run with the extra cage second on time. So that is going to wrap up this video, guys. Apologies that it was out late. Apologies that I sort of disappeared off this channel for a bit, but life happened. I moved. If you hadn't already checked behind me, it's a lot different since I last uploaded a video. But I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and I'm back now. I've also got some really, really good ideas for some other videos coming. A bit more gameplay related, actually. So we're going to be doing some RPG stuff and also some live commentary stuff for this channel as well. So I'd like to thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy this video and you would like to see any more like it, then feel free to come over to my channel. It'll be linked in the description down below. And if you would like to see any more PvE guides or anything like that, feel free to subscribe to the One Legion channel, because Metro and Salah are working their lovely hearts off, making some beautiful content for you guys. And I'm going to be back next time. And I hope you guys enjoy. And I'll see you guys next time. Farewell.